What's up, guys? So this is part two of two. Part one is why you shouldn't hire a coach if you are a beginner or intermediate lifter. Part two is why you should hire a coach if you are a beginner or intermediate lifter. We'll just jump right into it. First and foremost, your form. Learning how to do something correctly the first time is so much easier than learning how to do it the wrong way, doing it the wrong way hundreds, if not thousands of times over, and having to go back and relearn it after you have learned it the wrong way. Having to unlearn what you've already learned. I will use myself as an example here. I was pulling into the 600s on deadlift with terrible form. I got stronger. Getting strong is not hard, as much as these internet YouTube gurus like to talk about the proper way to train. This way is better than that way, etc. I'm not innocent here. I've talked about it before too. Getting strong is not hard. Progressively overloading is simple. There's a bunch of ways to do it. One's not necessarily better than the other. That much. You're talking about minutia percentages. Anyway, so I learned how to deadlift the wrong way. I was pulling in the 600s with terrible form, just herk and jerk off the floor, and I stalled. It wasn't an issue until it becomes an issue, and that's the problem with programming yourself, following free programs. You can know the right form. You can know what is the right form. You start putting hundreds of pounds on your lifts in short times. You're like, oh, I don't need right form. This form is working for me, and you get to a point where it becomes an issue. I had to unlearn how to deadlift, relearn how to deadlift. I hired a coach for that to get me past that proverbial wall that I had hit, because my deadlifts were wildly inconsistent. Yes, I could pull into the mid 600s, but on a given day, I didn't know if I could pull 650. I didn't know if I could pull 610. I didn't know if I could pull 635. It was all over the place because my form and technique was trash. It wasn't a consistently repeatable movement that I was doing. So biggest thing is having the right form from the get-go, not having to unlearn bad habits. A coach will be there to teach you proper technique and form from the beginning, so all you have to do is learn it the right way the first time. You don't have to unlearn it when you're already starting to become a late intermediate or advanced lifter. Number two is going to be accountability, and that kind of coincides with number one a little bit, being accountable of your form. Sometimes it takes the coach's eye to see that. But just being accountable with actually doing your prescribed programming. When you're programming yourself, when you're following a free program, using a template that you didn't pay for, it's easy to skip a day here and there, maybe drop some of your accessory work. Maybe instead of 5 sets of 5 that was programmed, you do 3 sets of 5 and you feel sore enough, so you just go. When you put money to programming and you pay somebody to tell you what to do, you're much more apt to stay the course for it, because otherwise you're just throwing your money in the trash. If you're paying somebody for coaching and you're not doing exactly what they're telling you to do, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time, etc. And I found that most people, when they put money to it, are much more apt to follow it. I tried early on doing some free programming for some people just because I wanted to get my feet wet and I wanted to do it for fun. 100% quit rate. As soon as I started charging people money, people started sticking the course and staying with the programming. And I wasn't even charging a lot of money. I don't charge a lot of money now, but I was charging even less before. But just having somebody put money to it, they're much more apt to stay the course. And that accountability, when it comes to putting your hard-earned money to something, is tenfold versus your own programming or following a free template. Third is the human element, and this is something you can't get from free programming, and you could kind of get from yourself, but sometimes it takes an outside source to have that there for you. So the human element part of it, there's a multitude of things at play there. But if you hired a competent coach, they've been there, they've done it, they know what you're going through, they can sympathize with you, they can empathize with you. They know sometimes it's not all there, and where a template, says you do X weight for X sets, and that is what it is. The human part of it, they see this week's training, man, dude really wasn't moving like he usually does. And in conversing with their client, which coaches should be conversating with their clients, they'll find that maybe he was lacking sleep this week, or he's got a minor cold, or she's getting a divorce, etc., etc. Having a human coach, they can identify these things, they can be there for you, they can adjust your programming as such, where free programs typically don't do that. And self-programming, these things can lead to excuses to give up or skip days altogether. And along with that human element of them being there for these, reasons, they can also be a source of external motivation. Now, discipline always trumps motivation in these scenarios. Even when you're not feeling it, if you're disciplined, you'll go and you can get it done. Having a coach, they can be of some external motivation. A lot of good coaches, again, they will conversate with their lifters. They'll get to know you, not necessarily be your best friend, but they need to know, the human element of it as well. They need to know what you're going through, and they can help, not only with being motivation, but knowing when to rein it in a little bit. And they can say, okay, this lifter is going through this. They're not 100% themselves. They're not going to be able to give 100% in the gym. So I'm going to back off a little bit. And, vice versa. Oh, my client's doing great. He just got a raise at work. His energy levels are through the roof. He fucking destroyed last week's programming. Let's bump it up a little bit this week and really, give him that slap on the ass to get him going even more. So they know when to push you and when to pull it back. They've been there and done it. They've experienced these things in regards to balancing life and lifting. So they can be there to help you out with that no free programming or template is going to be able to do, and that you're likely not going to be able to do for yourself. And then last but not least, I left this one last on purpose because this one is going to be specific to in-person powerlifting coaching. And it's for meet day. Having a coach / handler there for you on meet day, it really lets you focus mentally just on the lifts. Your coach will be there to call your attempts. Your coach will be there to pay attention to what the competition is doing. So you don't have to think about, I need to lift X amount of weight to be in this position going into this lift. Your coach can think about all of that for you. Your coach can be there with food and drinks. Your coach can wrap your knees. Your coach can remember this cue, etc., etc. You can just focus on lifting the weight, and that is invaluable. Being at a meet, nerves can be there. Worrying about your competition, looking around the room, seeing who all is there. Your coach can take that burden off your shoulders so you can focus on just your 9 attempts and not have to worry about anything else. And having that clear mind, being able to put all your energy just into your lifting, there's nothing like that. That's something, there's a reason athletes in all these sports have coaches at the professional level. And coaches are there to be the proverbial brains to think, so the athlete can just focus on doing. So I saved that one for last because that's not going to apply to everybody. I know a lot of people are just hiring online coaches to help with their programming, help them get stronger and things like that. So I covered those bases first. But powerlifting specific on meet day, the coach is an invaluable tool. So there's the reasons, and this one ended up being a lot longer than the reasons not to hire a coach. But these are the reasons you should hire a coach if you're a beginner or intermediate. Link to the first video will be in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed this.